Welcome to this conversation with the Morning Tea Marketing Missus, where we offer valuable tips to help small business owners and sole traders improve their online and their business presence and their life skills or whatever it is, hopefully so they can communicate better with the wild world out there. Your host, as usual, are Narelle Gaddy. Narelle is Accessibility Auditor. There's myself. I help women in leadership roles remove limiting beliefs and stand out in their brand. We have Lara Arden with us. If you missed last week, then you would have known that Lara has joined us now instead of Kate. And Lara is a business awards coach. And we have also Jan Roach, who has BizConnect web design and over 50s health. We're talking a balance. And hey, ladies, and our conversation leader at this time is Narelle.
Hey, ladies, look, what I want to focus on now, and we've all been in that situation, when you get a task and you get so overwhelmed, and it doesn't matter whether it's like for my work implementing digital accessibility and talking to people about it, and the people go, oh, that's so big, or whether it's like in your case, Lara, your clients with the business awards and the process, or Janine, even like the over 50s health and the steps that you take to get them on the path to fitness and health, and Janine with you with the training you do. And the balance comes in there. It's to take that breath, isn't it? Take that step back and think, hang on, you don't suddenly have that Kate, do you? Or you don't suddenly have the car or whatever it is. You break it down into steps, and you break it down into steps that you can reasonably achieve and get balance, so that when you're doing it, your mindset is right, your ability to do that task is right, your chances of success are magnified. You put yourself in the position where you are going to be successful. And it's just by breaking everything down into steps, because let's face it, when you bake a cake, what's the first thing you do? You find the recipe. You don't suddenly have the cake. So break everything down into steps, put everything back into balance. That overwhelming feeling is a very sure way of not succeeding. It really is. Just by breaking things down, you're giving yourself the best chance of success. And when I talk about digital accessibility, obviously for me, I say, just do one thing at a time, learn one skill at a time. You don't suddenly, a child learning to read learns each individual letter. Remember, I don't know whether you guys, I found all my boys grade 1 or prep books where they had to do A for apple, and you had to glue the pictures in, and you'd sit there with them and they'd make the sound of or whatever it is. That's how they learn to read. And that's the approach that we have to take with everything. Break it down, bring balance back into the task, get rid of that overwhelming feeling, because you're not going to be successful. So with digital accessibility, I always say the first one and the most simple one, add alternate text to your images. It's such a simple thing to do. Once you know that, fantastic, you're on the way. It could be the next step is thinking about the size of the font you use. Make it all size 12. Well, there's 2 things you've done. You don't have to do them again. You've done them and you know how to do them, and you've got that into your work processes. And it really is the same with anything you do, isn't it? Jan, when you're doing all your work with the over 50s health, and I've heard you talk about the process, because at the moment, aren't you working on getting up to a certain weight with, I think it's the deadlift?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a whole process to it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's really, isn't all balance about, is applying a process to make sure you're successful? I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's also, you've got to enjoy the process as well. Like, if you don't, you get out of balance and you become overwhelmed.
Oh, good point. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And but it's also your mindset, isn't it?
Yep.
Because
It's all hand in hand, isn't it?
yeah, because you might not enjoy the process, but you want what's happening at the end, or the outcome.
Yeah.
You see the benefit. So mindset, plus breaking down of the task into small chunks, small processes, you've got much better chance of winning, haven't you?
Mm.
Whatever it is you're doing, whether it's you're teaching your child how to read, except the word the. My son hated the word the, could never spell it.
Ah,
Duck.
The, T-H-E.
yeah.
Oh, duck. Duck.
Yeah, I still remember the major tantrums over the word the. How do you
Oh,
spell the?
That's really cool. And I think that's such a good point, Narelle, is that breaking down. When I start working with clients, they often come to me and they say, look, everyone's told me I should be on LinkedIn, I should be on Facebook, I should be on Twitter, I should be on Instagram, I should be on TikTok, I should write a book, I should do this. And it just becomes so overwhelming. And that's why I really like having conversations with people when they're starting out. Okay, let's have a chat and figure out what outcomes you want to achieve.
Mm.
And then either I can help you or I'll recommend someone who can. A lot of contacts. Because what is important now? I spoke to someone the other day and we were talking about, because those, we've talked networking before, and there's some great networkers on here. And someone was saying, should I do this particular networking? I've gone, no, it's not for you. It won't help you unless you want to go and practice pitching. It's not the place for you to gain business. It will just be a waste of money. But this other form of networking will be a much better way for you to go, because that's where your clients are. So it's really important to get good advice. And so you know which of those little steps to take. They're not just everything's thrown at you, that you can really make a very deliberate decision of the steps and where you put your money, because that's such an important factor. I see so many people waste money on something rather than going, okay, I need to do just one thing and I need to get that right.
Yeah. And this is it. I mean, when I talk to people about digital accessibility, they automatically think it's a really complex thing. And I have to sit there and say, oh, actually, it's not. We're just talking good design. And then we start talking about it and they go, that's all it is. I'll say, yeah, it is all it is. You've already got the tools. You've got the knowledge. It's how to mend it together or gel it so that suddenly everyone can access it. You might need to learn a few new skills. It's not complex. It's the way people deal with it, isn't it? It's the way, that feeling of overwhelming and, oh, where do you start? And that's when you get in people like Janine or Lara or you, Jan, in your areas, me with digital accessibility. We know where to start. We know how to talk to you so that you can take that step back, take that deep breath, get that mindset right, and be successful.
I have to mention something to for Lara, and I'm sure she's going to comment on this with business awards. There's a couple of awards out there at the moment. One had a cutoff date the other day, and I went, oh, today's the cutoff date. Let's go. Get it in. So, but the thing is, because of already having a lot of stuff in place, that wasn't that big a deal for me, whereas it would be for others. And there's another one coming up, which I actually won last year, so I want to go for it again. But it's, Lara, it's those steps, isn't it? When someone looks at something like that, it looks overwhelming.
It is, and it can be tempting because, like we see the end goal and it's something that we want to achieve and we have that strong desire for it. And so it can be tempting to think, oh, I really want to just jump right in and do all of this. And it doesn't matter if it's only 2 to go until it's due to be uploaded. So if you relate that to, even like with Jan for her coaching, like we talk about trying to, put together a massive amount of work within a day or two so that we can upload it all. Imagine if we were trying to lift 100 kilos, in like 2 minutes, and it's our first attempt ever. It's like
that is not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And something might get hurt, something could get broken or injured. So and I think you were talking about that, Narelle, weren't you, when you said it's really important for us to take a step back and just look at what we can do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that happens when it comes to applying for, for business awards, because there's so many out there. We are blessed with a smorgasbord of awards that we can apply for these days for whatever aspect of our business that we have as a core strength, or even something new that we're starting to notice is starting to brew, and we might want to think, oh, there's an opportunity for that to get some recognition. But just as Janine was saying there, like it pays to be strategic. Right. And it pays to certainly help and stop and think for a moment, wait a minute, I've got these big goals. This is what I really want to do. And yes, I could jump in and throw everything at it and try to lift it all up in one go. and that would be possible, but it might not be, producing the best outcome that I'd like. So is there a smarter way that I can go about this? Because maybe it's a situation of, well, there is a business award that I would really like to go for, but for me to be able to put forward my best effort, to be able to give it all that it, is really worthy of, so that it gets the respect worthy for the judges, but also so that we get the opportunity, the full opportunity of being recognized for all the good that we've done, knowing everything that we're going to have to pull together to make that happen and make our nominations look really great. Do we have the time that we need and the space to be able to make that effort really valuable and worthwhile for everyone involved?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. It's all about balance. It really is. And mindset. We'll throw mindset in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That you've given us a lot of food for thought, Narelle, and I'm sure that when Jan and I are yet to cover our topics of balance for this month, I'm sure that these same themes are going to come up again and again when we're talking balance. Thank you so much for sharing that, everyone. And that's another conversation with the Morning Tea Marketing Missus. Remember to check us out on YouTube. Leave a what's the word I'm looking for?
Review.
Review, well,
comment.
leave a review, which is
Like,
but just
follow,
a comment,
Yeah.
follow, do everything that we ask.
all of the above.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to know there's been a particular point that's really resonated with you, and it enables us to continue to have these conversations and know that we're, helping the people that are watching and listening to us. Have a great week until we're back again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.